Hello, Rashana.
Hey, Mom. Renee.
Hey, y'all. Let's turn this down some. Ooh, ooh. So, hey, y'all. I talked my daughter into doing a podcast with me. So, this is a little test run on the topic that we will be talking about. One of the things that um, I guess I'll be talking towards the parents and she'll be talking towards people her age. Um, but ever since she was a baby, I started her off if you follow me, I know I'm on my personal page today, but I talk about, I teach people how to afford their dreams through buying assets like uh, buying stock or um, entrepreneurship or through entrepreneurship um, and buying real estate investing. So throughout her whole life, she gets tired of me talking. She has heard it her entire life. And she still hears it. So we'll get to share our authentic conversations at times. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good, but um, the conversation needs to be had within the family. So, Rashana, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well, hey, guys. My name is Rashana Rainey. I am the offspring of the beautiful Renee Rainey. Yeah, 23. My mom's been teaching me ever since I came out the womb. So, we'll always have a lot of information to share. I'm excited to see, where the podcast and this brings us.
And this is not really a topic that you really enjoy talking about all the time because, as you say, Mom, this is your thing. But I just think it's so important. And so we'll just to highlight some of the things, like ever since she was born, when I had my baby shower, what I did was I had and then welcome to everyone that is joining our live. We are recording it for our future podcast as well. And hopefully you'll get some nuggets and share some nuggets with us as well. By us doing it live, you can definitely chime in and say, I agree or disagree, or that's good,
Right.
or give
We're
us
here to
some.
have a conversation.
We're going to have a conversation. So we look forward to that. So, one of the things is that what I did was when she was born, I had a baby shower. So instead of asking for gifts and doing a registry, what I did was I asked people to give me savings bonds for her. And so that's what people did. So I started from the time she came out of the womb. I looked into doing like a college fund thing, but I just at that time didn't wrap my head around. But since then, she's 23 now. She's graduated with 2 degrees. We now have, I don't know, Rashana, if you have the ability to wave back, because every time I don't want to put my hand in our recording here, but just, I started her on a path. So, up until she was age 18, I was her momager, managing how she went, because I can remember me growing up, not really understanding credit. I can remember I got my first credit card. So they offered me a MasterCard Visa and for $500. So I'm thinking I had $500 per card, but it was really $500 combined between the two. So I went out that weekend and I was swiping. Do you know I maxed that card out my first time shopping? I didn't tell you that. So I maxed out my credit cards.
But she got the nerve to get on me when I start spending on them cards.
And that's the point, parents. The mistakes you make over the way, over lifetime, you do want to, you have something that you can give back. A lot of times we raise our kids and we send them out into the world unprepared financially. And so I just felt it was that I would have failed my daughter if I didn't instill in her the things that I teach about financing, about investing, and those types of things. So, but I have maxed out credit cards several times. So I finally got to the point in life where I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop doing credit cards because I can't get ahead. Pay off my debt. I always paid off my debt, but then it was like a cycle. I was on a cycle that I couldn't get out of that cycle. And so I just chalked it up. I used to facilitate the Dave Ramsey classes. And so part of the class, if you're trying to improve your finances, I had to cut up my credit cards. And you don't realize how emotionally tied you are to your credit cards until you cut them up. But it's just plastic and it's not your money. But when Rashana was like a junior in college, I sat her down and I said, Rashana, I don't do credit cards. I don't have any credit cards, but I don't want to put that on you. So I told her the pros and cons of the credit cards, and she made a decision to get her first credit card. So I'll leave the door open for you there, Rashana. How is that? How is that experience been for you?
So like you said, you were part of the Dave Ramsey program. And I remember you cutting up your credit cards when it got to that point in the course. And especially you being a teacher, you have to lead by example. So you were the first one to cut your credit cards. And if I remember correctly, no one else in the class had cut them with you that day. So, that said a lot. But I just remember you always like, after that, like, don't get a credit card, don't get a credit card, don't get a credit card. And then I remember the conversation of like, you know what, like you got to build your credit, but we have a credit card, you got to be responsible with it. And, I'm like, yeah, I will be, Mom, I will be, applied for the credit card, actually got it. I think the first credit card I ever applied to was Forever 21, but I wasn't approved at the time. And at that time, I didn't really have any established credit whatsoever. So they didn't have anything to base it off of, which is understandable. And then I went to Capital One. Actually, I think I was using, what app was that? I think I was going through Credit Karma, and Credit Karma will tell you what cards you'll get approved for with the credit score that you have. And I got approved for the Capital One card, so I was like, cool. Got that card. I think I started with a $500 limit. It was smooth sailing in the first month and a half. And then after that, it was kind of like, ooh, well, I don't have any money of my own to spend, so I got this credit card. Let me just, I'm gonna pay it back. And that kind of started the toxic routine you usually get into with credit cards. I knew better, but I wasn't doing better. So I was doing my best to maneuver. I was, the one thing I made sure I did was always made my payments on time. I made sure to never miss the deadline. Now, usually they tell you want to pay your statement balance, but I wasn't doing that. I was paying the minimum, which is still good. As long as you're making those payments on time and you're paying the minimum that they require, it's all Gucci. But, that card now, they done raised my credit limit 3 different times. I'm like, okay, every time I try to do better, y'all raise the credit limit. But the perk about that is you can call them if you don't want that. You can just be like, hey, thank you for the credit raise, limit raise, but I don't want that. So could you take it off, please? And they'll do that for you. So.
Yeah. Now, I will say, if you have a credit card with a limit, she said pay the minimum amount. Pay the minimum amount if that's all that you have. But how you win with credit cards, is it the amounts that you charge in this month that you pay the full amount on your next statement? That will keep you from paying interest, because now the item that you purchase, you're paying more for that item. And so to win with credit cards, you definitely want to, so if you charge $50 and your statement comes in, you want to pay that $50. But a lot of times, again, just always keep in the back of your mind that this is not your money. You're using somebody else's money and they charge you. As long as you pay it off by that statement date, you're fine. There's no extra fees. This item that you paid $50 for is $50 when you pay it by the next statement. But if you don't pay by the next statement and you break it up into payments, it's going to cost you more than $50. And over time, the fees just keep accumulating. If you pay late, they charge you late fees. But if you just, you can make payments, the minimum payments, just pay your bills on time. They will increase your credit amount every 6 months if you keep going in a steady fashion. But where you run into trouble, when you max out your cards and then say your car break down and you need to go purchase a new car, you're going to go to the car dealership and try to get a car. Now they're looking at a person. Everybody, whenever you get a loan, whether it's on your credit card, if you go to the bank, if you go buy a car, they all want to know, how are you going to pay us back? And so Rashana can share. She wanted a new car. Okay, fine, no problem. Let's go. Let's go. She has good credit. Paying the minimum amount. She's maintained good credit. But when we went to the car dealership, Rashana, I'll let you share that experience.
Yeah, so my mom, she loves to give me informational and educational tidbits. So she was like, you can go into the car dealership and not put anything down and walk out with the car. So, the irresponsible mindset was like, okay, let's go right now or whatever. No matter if I have $5 in my bank account, $5,000, like if I can get a car and not pay them at all, I'm doing it. And of course, me loving the finer things, I wanted a Hellcat. And we went and test drove, and I was just having the time of my life, fell in love with the car. And, when it came down to talking about numbers.
Well, slow down. Slow down. The Hellcat is what? At the higher end of a car. It wasn't like, their little lower end car. It was a higher end car. So even before she could test drive the car, they verified her credit. She had to fill out a credit application. They verified her credit before test driving. Mm-hmm. And so she passed because she has good credit. So go ahead.
Yes. So they checked my credit, which when it comes to credit, about inquiries, you try to keep those at a minimum. But I'm thinking I'm about to walk out with the car. So go ahead, check the credit. I'm good. I'm good in the hood. So, did that, got approved, start test driving, and I'm just having, I'm on my joyride, and we get back, it's time to talk numbers. And I think the one that I fell in love with was the most expensive one out of the three that I drove. What was it? Was it like 60,000 around there? It was around $60,000. And basically, they were asking me what I want to put down. I was like, I don't want to put anything down. I don't, I'm like, I don't want to put anything down. No down payment. And they were like, would you want to trade in your car? I was like, sure. It's an old car. So they were like, we probably only get about, $500 for it. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Keep going through there, like, okay, now we have to call, some banks to see, like, if, they'll approve you for the loan for this car. Every bank said no. And he just came back and he's basically like, unless your mom's signing for you, which she wasn't going to do, he's just like, you would have to find, either a good down payment plus turning in your car, and might make the banks, say yes to you then. But your credit's not as established. So even though I have a good credit score, it's not as established because all I have is school loans, 2 credit cards, and that's it, So they want to see that you've been making payments on time, and the track record isn't really showing that because you don't have that much on there. But it was a learning lesson for sure. But then, when he told me what my monthly payments would be for that car with no down payment and where I was at, I was like, eek. I think I would have had to pay like $900 something a month in car payments. I was like,
now let's also back up a little bit. Now, she didn't ask me to co-sign, so don't think I won't ever co-sign for you. So let's just say that, because the title of this conversation is, I'm all about, like I said, through my trials and tribulations on, from a child to adulthood and walking into the things that, credit and all that wasn't discussed in my family. I didn't want Rashana to have those issues. And so I knew she had the credit to get the car. Now, the key reason why you didn't get it is because of your student loan. She had just graduated from college. And that's the thing, is like our kids go to college and then she had to get loans. So when she got out of school, she just graduated, last December. So her whole, they've been delaying paying the uh, student loan back, which mom suggested start paying it back, even though they said you don't have to pay right now. I told her start making payments. So that may have made a difference. The other key thing is that, so they're looking at her debt ratio. She's fresh out of college. So they're looking at her debt ratio saying, okay, how is she going to pay us back? Now, one thing is that she has an advantage is that her mom sits on a board at a credit union. So they told her, because of the relationship that they have with me, they told her, Rashana, we'll lend you the money. And so I said, well, okay. So no matter what, like you could have whatever you want. As long as you can afford it, you can have whatever you want. But there's consequences. Even if it's a right decision, there's consequences. So, they said, we'll lend you the money. They said, but if you were just Joe Schmo, we look at your debt ratio. So if you're 50%, over 50% in debt of what you bring in, we don't even look at those applications. And so that her student loans puts her over that amount. So, but she did move back home. So, and I don't charge her anything to move back home because I want to give her that jump start, and so
I'm
again,
telling the people my business.
but then again, she could have gotten the loan. And so you could take it from here, Rashana, why you decided not to go ahead and get your dream car.
Well, for right now, I have had the blessing to not have to make car payments ever in my life yet. I've been, passed down cars, and such. So the car that I have currently, I just put the basic maintenance, oil changes, changing the brake pads every now and then, the basic maintenance that your car needs. And it gets me to point A to point B. I drive back and forth from Cincinnati to Columbus every weekend. Every week. So it gets me to point A to point B with no problems of, my car is going to die tomorrow, or, it's not going to last me for long. So I was like, well, as long as I have a working, good condition car and no car payments, I might as well just, take the time to save. So then when it's time to make car payments, I pretty much have car payments saved up already. So when it's time, it's not anything different, and I'm not having to hustle harder or work more hours because these car payments are, breaking my pockets. So basically, aside from that reasoning of waiting on getting the car of my dreams, I was like, is it really realistic? Because, Hellcats, their engines, they're going to stop making those engines in 2023. So I was like, I have to do some more research. Just be knowledgeable about my purchase, especially when it's a liability purchase and not an asset. And the third reason is mainly I want to buy assets and focus on purchasing assets this year versus liability, especially with, school debt, things like that, credit card debt, because, your girl loves to spend money, so I have to pay that money back too as well. So I've kind of geared my focus from getting my dream car to getting my first investment property.
And so, which was a good decision to make because, all she had to do was pay down her credit cards. All she had to do was save up so that she had a down payment for the car to be in a better position for that loan to be in a good spot to get to her dream car. So, Rashana made a great decision, and she doesn't have the stress of car payments. She doesn't have,
Man, hallelujah.
Yeah, some people drive nice cars and that's all that they have. They have to live out of their car, or they're afraid to drive their car. So I mean, she made a great decision, but she knows how to go about it. She can she said investment property, she can go buy her a 4 unit, move in, be mortgage free, and the money that she makes off that property will pay the car payments on her Hellcat. So, that's definitely a great way to do it. So again, we're thinking about this is a test launch of a podcast that we're thinking about doing, talking about family economics, how it's important to make sure that your children leave the house financially strong, and they have financial education, financial intelligence. We talk about how over the years, Rashana, she has a 401k at 23. She has a stock portfolio. She actually has a rental property already because that was her graduation gift. Um, but
My childhood home.
her childhood home. She said, "Mom, whenever you don't get rid of this property, keep this property for me." And so it's hers. And so she manages it. She started a business. So we'll talk about that. So let us know in the comments what you guys think. Does this sound like something that you would like to hear more of in a podcast? And I don't know, Rashana, I'm excited to do it. I know I'm gonna have to get off here and we played a Cashflow game. So like I said, it's round the clock for me. We're just learning and using our minds to so hey, you want to drive a Hellcat? You want to live in this house? You want to travel the world for a year? You can do it. And people can pay you to do it. So just keep that in mind. Rashana, did you have anything else to share?
I'm just excited to see where this takes us, and just make sure if you guys have any things you want to hear about from us. I know my friends are like, oh, yeah, you and your mom, this is going to be funny or whatever, your guys' personalities and things like that. So, even if, we talk about finances, you guys want to hear about lifestyle things as well, from a mother-daughter perspective, just let us know.
And we'll be authentic
Yeah.
because just yesterday, what were you saying? Mom, please. So you'll get. We're gonna be real with you. But at the end of the day, um, Rashana will look back in life and not have to worry about money and finances and doing the things that she wants to do in life. And so we're gonna say goodbye for now. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.